work with Will? It hurts too much to laugh, but I'm too old to cry.
It's perfect obvious, but my voice isn't up to par.
With you and your family as you undertake your new responsibility. Signed, Jerry.
I promised you 4 years ago that I would never lie to you. So I can't stay here tonight and say it doesn't hurt. Tonight, we rejoice in our democracy. We rejoice in the freedoms of a wonderful people, and we accept their verdict. I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to be encouraged by what you've done in this campaign. I want the country to know that our entire administration will work closely with his team to ensure the smooth transition of power. There is important work to be done, and America must always come first. Tomorrow will be the first time in my life I don't have anything to do.
Now the U.S. Supreme Court. Let there be no doubt. While I strongly disagree with the court's decision, I accept it. I accept the finality of this outcome.
It is now clear that even when all the provisional ballots are counted, which they will be, there won't be enough outstanding votes for us to be able to win. A while ago, I had the honor of calling Senator Barack Obama to congratulate him. Please. To congratulate him on being elected the next president of the country that we both love. In a contest as long and difficult as this campaign has been, his success alone commands my respect for his ability and perseverance. But that he managed to do so by inspiring the hopes of so many millions of Americans who once wrongly believed that they had little at stake or little influence in the election of an American president is something I deeply admire. The nation, as you know, is
Hello, guys. I just realized that had no sound, didn't it? Son of a bitch, I didn't hit share audio. I just want you to hear John McCain. I'm no fan of John McCain's, but...
Which they will be. There won't be enough outstanding votes for us to be able to win.
A little while ago, I had the honor of calling Senator Barack Obama to congratulate him. Please. To congratulate him on being elected the next president of the country that we both love. In a contest as long and difficult as this campaign has been, his success alone commands my respect for his ability and perseverance. But that he managed to do so by inspiring the hopes of so many millions of Americans who had once wrongly believed that they had little at stake or little influence in the election of an American president is something I deeply admire.
The nation, as you know, is at a critical point. At a time like this, we can't risk partisan bickering and political posturing. Our leaders have to reach across the aisle to do the people's work.
Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power. And we don't just respect that, we cherish it.
So I totally screwed that up, guys. Welcome to Daily Faded. This is where we get faded daily and talk about the news and politics of the day. That was a video that NBC News put out earlier today. If you have any interest in seeing it, I just linked it in the chat. If you want to hear those snippets of concession speeches. Before we get on into all that, let's check in on the COVID-19 situation. as we do every night. I got to NCOVE 2019 live late again tonight, so we'll just do the totals here. 53 million confirmed cases around the globe, 10.8 million in the United States, basically 1.3 million dead around the globe, 248,585 according to NCOVE 2019.live. And here in California, we passed the million cases mark, joining Texas in that esteemed club, states with 1 million cases. And we've had 18,142 deaths in California as of today. But here's the more interesting data for the day. The COVID tracking project. Our daily update is published. States reported 1.5 million tests, 151,000 cases, and 67,000 people currently hospitalized with COVID-19. The death toll was 1104. Both case and hospitalization figures hit all-time highs today. Those numbers are going up so fast right now. I mean, it was 140 something yesterday, and it was in the 130s 2 days ago. We're going to be 160 tomorrow? Sanjay Gupta called this a humanitarian crisis in the United States. A humanitarian crisis. Places are running out of PPE. Hospitals are having trouble staying fully staffed. And doctors cannot travel from California to go to New York or from New York to go to North Dakota because cases are on the rise everywhere. So we kind of need all of our healthcare workers exactly where they are. It definitely seems like some states and or some cities are going to meet their breaking point soon. And we're going to start seeing pictures not unlike what we saw out of Italy last year. If only it was last year, earlier this year. So I was having trouble pulling this up the other day. This is the IHME, University of Washington, IHME projection. This is the deaths. So they've worked them all out here. And you see the line is a pretty steady line. And they have it going up, up, up. And projecting 438,000 dead by March 1st. $438,941 COVID-19 deaths based on current projection scenario by March 1st, 2021. The IHME was used to lay down markers several times during the pandemic, notably right at the beginning when Trump came out and said, well, it could have been 2 million, but we're going to keep it to 100 to 200,000. This is when they first started doing the coronavirus task force daily briefings, and he was trying to look presidential. Yes, that's a good way of looking at it, Hamza. Yeah. If only. What can I tell you? I'm already stoned. Anyway, so that was the for a while Trump was saying, they said it could have been 220, but it's 15, it's 20, it's 100. And then at one point, for some reason, they revised it down and it was 60,000. He's like, look, they said it could have been 220,000. Now they're saying it's going to be 60,000. That's because we're doing such a great job. Obviously, that was all tricks and mirrors from Trump as usual. But if you go back and you look at their projections over the months, they consistently underestimated the number of deaths. Consistently. So if they're underestimating 438,000 deaths by March 1st, what does that mean? Does that mean that we're going to have 500,000 deaths by March 1st? Does that help when I put my hand over the mic that way? I hope that helps. I don't want to be coughing in y'all's ear. This is a humanitarian crisis, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who has been the smartest voice on the pandemic, says on CNN about the latest coronavirus numbers in the US. He says some states are, quote, spiraling out of control. Nice editorializing by Caitlin Collins there, who is buttering up Sanjay Gupta, but that's okay. And he mentioned Doctors Without Borders. So I thought I would go and to the Médecins Sans Frontières website. How we are helping in the United States, Doctors Without Borders. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières began working in key sites across the United States to reach vulnerable groups that often lack access to health care. We ran limited operations in the U.S. between April and October and have now concluded these activities. MSF teams worked with local authorities and community-based organizations on a wide range of projects, including support for people who are homeless or housing insecure in New York City, migrant farm workers in Florida, Native American communities in the Navajo Nation and Pueblos, and neglected and marginalized communities in Puerto Rico. Our teams also worked with staff in nursing homes and long-term care facilities in Michigan and Texas to offer training in infection prevention and control measures and support for mental health and wellness. So it certainly never occurred to me that the day would come when the United States would be depending upon Médecins Sans Frontières. And this is all about what they did earlier in the pandemic. Now they're coming back. Good. We can use all the help we can get. I'm not too proud to take help. I'm a big believer in people helping. And that brings us back to Trump. Speaking of Caitlin Collins, hold on one second. I'll make this super quick. Share audio, key to hit the share audio. So I just wanted to share this with you as our Trump date.
President Donald Trump remained behind closed doors today with no public appearances on the horizon. He hasn't taken questions from reporters in over a week and hasn't spoken publicly since last Thursday. Instead, he's waged war against the election from his phone, firing off tweets claiming without evidence the race was fraudulent, as his advisors privately wonder how long he'll keep going.
He'll just keep going and
CNN
going
the
and
president
going.
has been dejected following his loss, but has continued to meet daily with political advisors who are doubtful their legal challenges will succeed. Several said it's only a matter of time.
I love that they
Trump
call them legal
acknowledges his loss,
challenges,
but they
as if
believe
they're
that will
actually
come with a
presenting
tease
evidence
that
or
he'll run
arguments
in 2024.
of a legal nature.
When someday I leave, whether it's in 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, 16 years.
As Trump holds out, more people in his party are urging him to accept defeat. Fox News' Geraldo Rivera
Well,
posted this message
if
telling
Geraldo
his friend
says it's time
his
to give it in.
hard-fought race has come to an end.
You came so close in this election, but time coming soon to say goodbye with grace and dignity.
Karl Rove, who advised the Trump campaign this year, wrote in a Wall Street Journal op-ed that Trump should do his part to unite the country by leading a peaceful transition and letting grievances go. At least 5 GOP senators are now publicly calling for Joe Biden to receive access to classified briefings the Trump administration has blocked.
And if that's not occurring by Friday, I will step in as well and to be able to push them to say this
All
needs
right,
to
all
occur.
right.
The
James
White House press
Langford.
secretary, who is paid by
We
U.S.
certainly don't need to listen to Kayleigh McEnany. Life is too short for that. So, yeah, so Trump is holed up in the White House like a lunatic. It's actually, he's kind of gone the way of Brad Parscale. I wonder if there will be a domestic. I hope not. I don't want anything bad to happen to Melania. Oh, I completely forgot. I was going to start this live stream with the incredibly important breaking news. Trump has conceded. True fact. Trump has conceded. Melania Trump conceded. So there was some, some announcement about the White House Christmas decorations. And in it, it says something to the effect of, this is Melania's last Christmas presentation. Watch out, Melania, you might be back in 4 years. Or you might be divorced by then. So while our infantile president, and let me just point out, I just did something that I'm going to take issue with, in that I called Donald Trump infantile. There is a tendency to let white men off easy by comparing them to children. It is comparing men to boys. Oh, they're just boys. How much of our rape culture is fueled by boys will be boys, by so many people sharing that attitude. And Trump doesn't deserve to be let off the hook. He doesn't deserve to have a way out. Oh, he's just being childlike, being childish. He's immature. No, damn it. He is messing with the bedrock of our democracy. And he's endangering national security. You don't hear me talk about national security all that much, but he's endangering national security. The fact that Joe Biden is not getting national security briefings is frankly outrageous. And Trump should get it together and get that happening, because the Department of Homeland Security calls election the most secure in American history. Take a look at Trump there, because soon we'll be looking at Joe Biden there. This is from Axios. A top committee made up of officials from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and its election partners refuted President Trump's claims of widespread voter fraud and irregularities in a statement Thursday, calling the election the most secure in American history. Trump has refused to concede to President-elect Joe Biden and is pursuing lawsuits in a number of states with baseless claims of voter fraud. The public statement from the president's own Department of Homeland Security undermines his narrative and is sure to infuriate him. There is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised, members of the Election Infrastructure Governing Coordinating Council, GCC Executive Committee said in a statement. Voting systems were made secure through pre-election testing, state certification of voting equipment, and the U.S. Election Assistance Commission certification of equipment. The joint statement acknowledged opportunities for misinformation and urged voters to seek out election officials as trusted voices. The government statement about the election being secure should be unremarkable, Axios' Jonathan Swan notes. But the sad reality is it's a dangerous document for the officials who wrote it. Every person who had a hand in writing it will almost certainly face the wrath of Trump and his inner circle in the White House. I think that I actually have that tweet lined up right here. Well, not anymore. So that sucks for Trump, huh? Most secure election in American history, according to your own Department of Homeland Security. That's so rich. That's so rich. I want that plastered everywhere tomorrow. I hope that is plastered everywhere. They need to be putting it onto paper airplanes and throwing those paper airplanes right through the portico. Is that what it's called? I don't know. The doors from the outside to the inside on the West Wing. You watch West Wing, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but this is much better. This is much better. This is a thread from a Scottish journalist, Martin McLaughlin, investigative reporter at the Scotsman, Daily Reporter of the year 2019 and 2020. Eric Trump has referred to him as knowingly dishonest, or perhaps he's calling Eric Trump knowingly dishonest. Thread. There's been an interesting discussion in the Scottish Parliament this afternoon about the use of unexplained wealth orders, sounds like something we need in America, to investigate Donald Trump's deals to acquire his Scottish properties and ascertain the sources of the financing. Now that Sean Connery is gone, he can no longer protect Donald Trump. Patrick Harvey said there is a need to protect Scotland's good name from association with the toxic Trump brand and highlighted serious and long-standing concerns about Trump's business activities, both in Scotland and further afield. A lot of this stuff is in quotes. I'm not going to say the quotes because it's too many. Those concerns, he said, include evidence to Congress citing patterns of buying and selling, thought suggestive. Those concerns, he said, include evidence to Congress citing patterns of buying and selling suggestive of money laundering, and which drew particular attention to the golf courses in Scotland and Ireland. Cause for concern is still growing, Mr. Harvey told the Parliament. It's now reported that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is investigating the Trump Organization's inflation of assets and potential bank and insurance fraud. He added, the Trump Organization has been accused of repeatedly reporting fraudulent financial details to the U.S. Office of Government Ethics while reporting a different set of figures to the UK regulators. Shit, where was I? In respect of the Trump golf courses here in Scotland. Sorry about that. Turning to the issue of UWOs, unexplained wealth orders, I think that's what that was. He stressed that the Scottish government is able to go to court and ask for an order so that it can start getting answers, but said that so far the government has refused to either confirm or deny that an investigation is underway. He added, now that Trump is set to lose immunity from prosecution in the US, he may finally be held to account there. Isn't it that he's also held to account here? Isn't it time for answers from the Trump Organization and for the Scottish government to go to court? Replying, First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said the decision on whether to pursue a UWO against Trump is one for prosecutors, not politicians, specifically the Crown Office, which she said operated in a right and proper independent capacity from government ministers. She added, I think everybody is probably well aware of my views about the soon-to-be former president, and my views are probably no different to many people across Scotland. The idea that I'd somehow try to protect him from due accountability, I don't think holds much water. So she's not rushing ahead with the investigation, but she wants to make sure that you don't think it's because she wants to protect Donald Trump. She has no interest in protecting Donald Trump. Martin McLaughlin, the writer, comes in here at the end and says, for what it's worth, my understanding of the UWO process is that it's the Scottish government that can decide to go to court under Section 396A of the Proceeds of Crime Act 2002. The legislation doesn't seem to leave much room for ambiguity. I did not go and read the legislation. I will spare that for both you and me. Scottish Greens UWO statement, we can't continue to turn a blind eye to red flags that surround Trump's biz activities in Scotland, sending a signal to not just Trump himself, but those who may be lured by our relaxed approach towards investigating possible financial crimes. Well, I just think this is great. I would like Trump to rot in a Scottish prison. That sounds fantastic to me. Have to eat haggis for the rest of his life. I really want to go to Scotland. We've been talking about going to Scotland, actually. But sorry about that. Look, Trump should be prosecuted in as many jurisdictions as possible. It's that simple. This man should be behind bars someplace. And frankly, I would prefer he be behind bars in Scotland than behind bars in the United States, because going behind bars in the United States is not nice. Now, I'm sure he would be someplace nice. They'd probably build him a fucking prison of his own, if they ever actually sent him to prison, which will never happen. But he could be found guilty of something by the state of New York, and apparently by the Scottish Parliament or Crown Officer or whoever does that in Scotland. I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, so my next subject here. I don't even know if I want to get into that. I'll tell you what, come back and check out the channel tomorrow, because I'm going to do one more video tomorrow. So with that, thank you for checking me out tonight. Thank you to my patrons and all of my viewers. And make sure you hit the like button and notify. This daily is faded.